No tea for me. The king taxed paper, the king taxed glass, the king taxed paint. Now the king is taxing tea. We won't pay for it, the American colonists shouted. We want the king to repeal the unfair taxes. Many colonists liked to drink tea. They didn't think the tea tax was fair because they didn't get to decide how the money was spent. So many people just stopped drinking tea. Britain lowered the tax a little, but would not take away all the tax. The colonists got more and more angry. They decided not to buy any tea at all. We won't pay. It was December 16th, 1773. More than 7,000 angry colonists stood on the Boston dock. 3 big British ships were in the harbor. They carried a lot of tea. The governor told the people to let the ships unload the tea. The colonists objected to the order. The colonists were very angry. If the ships were unloaded, the colonists would have to pay for the tea tax. They wanted the ships to leave without unloading. A leader named Samuel Adams held meetings. He told the people not to let the ships unload. The people cheered. The colonists take action. One ship started to sail away, but the British said the ship had to stay in port until the colonists paid the tea tax. The colonists made a bold plan. That night, rebellious colonists disguised themselves. They dressed as American Indians. They rubbed coal dust all over their faces. They did not want the British to know who they were. They carried small axes. Yelling very loudly, the colonists stormed the docks. Groups of colonists ran onto the 3 ships at the same time. A bold tea party. The men got the keys to the storage hatches. They unlocked the doors. They grabbed the chest of tea. They chopped holes in the tea chest. That way the chest would not float in the water like corks. Their axes crashed into the dry wood. Then they tossed the chest of tea over the side of the boats. Some of the tea was still floating in the water the next day. The men beat the crates with paddles to make them sink. They did not want any of the tea to be saved. The British punished the colonists. British ships in the harbor left the colonists alone. The British king did not. Back in England, King George was very, very angry. He did not like this party at all. He did not like the way the colonists had acted. Their actions did not have any benefit for him or his country. The king quickly closed Boston Harbor. That meant no goods could reach Boston by ship. King George also took many powers away from the colonists. We want to be free. Most colonists were pleased about the Boston Tea Party. They felt the rebels had done the right thing. Their act had many advantages. It helped unite the colonists. It showed the king that the colonists would take a stand. It showed they would not pay unfair taxes. The battle for American freedom had begun.